Hey guys, JJ Stewart here. Just enjoying a nice, not so white Christmas here in Canada. So, on this last day of the year, I wanted to put a video out for all you people, all you fancy writers. If you've just published your first book, or you're a new author, you're like, oh, I'm so excited. And now in a couple weeks, you're going to turn around and go, I'm not making any sales. Today I'm going to do 5 reasons why your book's not selling and what to do about it. Brought to you by me, JJ Stewart. Oh gosh, it's been a while.
Yes.
Okay, picture this. You've just written your first novel. You've spent months and months working on it and refining it and rewriting it and creating a cover, and you think it's the best novel ever, and you create your Amazon account and you upload your video, and boom, you've set your baby free out into the world. And then you wait and you wait and you wait a little longer, and nothing. 2 days go by, 3 days go by, a week, 2 weeks go by, maybe you get one more sale, and nothing. All that work, all that time and effort, you crafted the story, you've created this artistic creation.
A few moments later.
But it's out there in the world. Your first novel, you're a published author, but you got no sales. And it can be soul crushing. Happens to everyone. And I'm going to give you today what I think are the top 5 reasons why your book doesn't sell. Number 1, no market research. You wrote something you were passionate about. It could be mermaid cowboys or lesbian transvestite vampires, something that you just love to death, and you've written it and published it, but you didn't do any market research. Maybe there's not a market out there for mermaid cowboys or transvestite lesbian vampires. If there isn't a market, then people aren't going to buy it. No matter how well written it is, if no one thinks it's interesting or no one's into that, no one's going to buy it. So a rule of thumb, broad audience appeal equals more sales. The more niche your book is, so the more the smaller the group of people who'd be interested in it is, the smaller your potential sales. So broad appeal, more sales. Less appeal, not so good. There's a reason why Hallmark reads every year, because people like them. It's got a broad appeal. Not enough car chases, in my opinion, not enough explosions, but there is an appeal to it that people like, and that's why they gravitate towards those movies. That's why they read those kind of books. So, do your market research. You might have written a bestseller, but if it's not in something people are interested in, they won't read it. Number 2, no marketing. You've done no marketing at all. Zero, zilch, nada. There are some estimates that there are nearly 4 million ebooks for sale on Amazon alone. 4 million. And approximately 48 million hardcover and softcover paperbacks for sale. That's a lot of books. Another industry analyst speculates there's a new ebook published every 5 minutes. So that's nearly 300 a day, 2,100 a week, or 8,500 ebooks a month. Which, if you're good at math, which I'm not, is over 100,000 ebooks a year are being uploaded and published on Amazon alone. And if you just published one, that's just a drop in the bucket. You're bobbing up and down. You're just like, look at me, buy me. But you're surrounded by thousands and thousands of other little boats, and they're all clamoring to be picked up and read. If you don't advertise, if you don't reach out, if you don't have a platform or a way to promote your book, you're just going to quickly get swallowed up. Because you know what? Tomorrow, 300 more books are going to be published, and the next day, 300 more. So you need to have a mailing list. You need to build a following. You need to advertise and promote your book on various platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Oftentimes, an author page will have, a Twitter account or a Facebook thing that readers can join. Also put that in the back of your book. So when someone does read it, they might join. And then a little later, another person might join. And someone might search out the genre you're writing. If it's romance, they might look for romance groups on YouTube or Facebook. And if you're part of that, there's various sites that promote writers and authors. You can get your name out there. You can get some people looking at it. But it takes a while. Don't expect your first book to suddenly, garner thousands of people. Everyone's talking about it. It does happen, but very rarely. It probably won't happen to you. So you need to build your audience slowly. You need to have a platform to advertise on, and you need to promote your book. Point number 3 is price point. I asked my wife, I said, give me a couple of reasons why you'd go into a bookstore and see a book and pass on it. And the first thing she said is price point. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. If she's reading a trashy romance, no more than $5. But if she goes into a bookstore and sees a book, for $12, $15, there's no way she's going to spend that kind of money. So know the price point of other books in your genre. If you're writing erotica like I do, know that most books start at $2.99. Some of the smaller ones will go 99 cents. Don't write your short little 25-page novella and expect people to pay $10 for it. If you've written a 500-page novel, they might pay $8.99. But not if you're a new author. That's the thing. You don't have name recognition. You don't have a following. You don't have people who've seen your books before and know your track record and know, hey, this guy writes stuff I like, so I will buy it no matter what the price. Like, for me, it's Stephen King and Neil Gaiman. If I see one of their books, it's an automatic buy because they've got a track record. They've built up, they've proven themselves over years and years of releasing really good books that I like, that I trust them as authors. But as a new author, people don't know you. So they're not going to go, oh, wow, awesome new book. I'm going to spend $9 or $10 on it. So do your research and know your price point, because that could be a big turnoff, especially if you're a new author. Number 4, relatability and interest. That was her second answer. And I was like, what do you mean? She says, the premise, when she reads the blurb on the back of the book, does it interest her? Can she relate to it? I asked, what about the cover? She said, well, cover might catch her eye, but it's not the reason why she'd buy or not buy a book. I said, well, what about if it's a famous author? Because for me, that's a big thing. If it's someone I know, I'll buy their book. She's like, no, not really. It's not really why she buys it. So I said, well, what is it? She said, it's the blurb. It's the thing on the back, when you read it. Does it catch her eye? Does it pique her interest? Is it a situation or a story that she can relate to and feel like she's a part of and experience as she's reading it? And this goes back to my first point about market research. See, my wife doesn't like transvestite lesbian vampires. And if she saw a book like that, she'd pass on it. But if she saw a vampire love story, maybe with that guy, Chris Helmsworth, who plays Thor, who's ridiculously good looking, she might be more interested, So it might be something she goes, I'm kind of interested in that. So that goes back to doing your market research before you even... And the last point, and this is the one I hate to use, is you might just suck. I hate to say it, but you might just be a horrible, terrible writer. Your characters could be boring. Your storyline could be uncompelling. Your lines are cliche. It's basically, rip off from another book or rip off from a movie plot. There's nothing that makes the reader want to cheer for your hero. They might just go, blah, nah, not really interesting me, Your book might be filled with grammar errors. It could be filled with typos. Maybe you didn't proofread enough. Maybe you skimped out on the editing or edited it yourself. Maybe you looked over it yourself. It could be riddled with spelling errors, or just really wordy or not wordy enough. Maybe you've written it for adults, but it's at a grade 3 level. Maybe your story's unrealistic, uninspiring, and boring. And maybe you just suck at it. I'm not saying you do, but it's a possibility. I've been on many forums where people, offer up saying, what do you think of my first chapter? And you're just like, oh my gosh, it's horrible. So if you're going to be a writer, you need to take time to read other books. You need time to spend time learning how to do grammar. You need to learn how to write a proper story, how to develop a character, to make an interesting plot, how to write a blurb. It's all comes together. And if you skimp out on any of those, people are going to pass. Because on Amazon, they have the look inside feature, and they're going to look inside and go, oh, this is horrible writing. It could be sexist. It could be misogynist. It could be, preachy. It could be some, platform for your political, bias, and people are just being turned right off. So I'm not saying you do suck, but there's a good chance if your book's not selling, that could be one of the reasons. So those are my 5 reasons why your book might not be selling. I know this isn't a long video because I always seem to make long videos, but I wanted to put out a quickie because people always seem to be inspired to publish books at the beginning of the year, or they want to start out the year with some strong sales and whatnot. Those are probably the 5 things that come to my mind of why your book's just sitting there, and it can be frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. Remember, everyone else is in the same boat. We're all dropping our little books in a sea or an ocean, and watching it float away and hoping it gets rescued, gets read by somebody. So we're all suffering the same thing. You're not unique. When I publish a book, it's the same. 300 other people publish that day too. 100,000 books a year, your book can get lost pretty quick. So if you do your market research, if you have compelling characters, if you don't price it too high, and you do all those things together, you increase your chances of making sales. But it takes time. But I don't want you to give up. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Keep writing, keep working, keep perfecting. If your first book doesn't, sell, maybe give it a read over. See, maybe your cover's no good. Maybe your title's wrong. Maybe you've priced it too high. Maybe nobody cares about lesbian, transvestites, vampires. Maybe you should have written something more appealing to a wider audience. But don't give up. Okay? So, Happy New Year's, everybody. It's good to see you. Let's start out the new year selling lots of books. Take care.